Last time we beat a wither, gaining a beacon for upgrading Tom Simple storage, and a wither eye, which is one of the many eyes we need to get to the end. And we moved into a new base. In this episode, we're going to build the ultimate Create Factory, setting us up for producing all the resources we might ever need. But more importantly, it'll look really cool. This episode, our primary objective is to build a major Create Factory. And I've kind of carved out this space. The whole sides look like that over there, but I just carved it out as kind of a basement for a Create Factory. We need to get some power. I'm thinking of running some water down here with some water wheels, like a bunch of water wheels to get some major power. Water doesn't come from nowhere, so I'm thinking of running some water down from the... Really? Rosario? Entertainer's Pants, Glowstone... None of this stuff is super interesting. You know what that means, Rosario? Anyway, where were we? I'm going to run some water down from the mountain up there, maybe run an aqueduct over to here. We're going to set up some water wheels, use the basement to kind of run the power around, and put a floor right here on this level and a big Create Factory. So let's get to it. All right, I think this is where our water wheels can go. Bit more of a wall right here. Attach the water wheels to something. All right, I think if we just drop some water right here, see if this fills it up. Water's weird in Minecraft. Why isn't that spreading out? Why is it just running in a straight line? This is making me nuts. Why is it stopping there? It's crazy. All right, well, I had to put some water source blocks down part way. I guess that's fine. Now let's put down some water wheels. And I made each of these sections 5 blocks wide. The intention of having the water wheels right like this. I think they need to go one higher. There we go. That's not clipping through the dirt. We'll put one each center spot, 3 blocks up. And 5 wheels on each one. So that's going to be another 20. And we're going to need 1 extra one. Explain why in a second. Okay. I think that looks pretty cool. Now, big water wheels spin slowly. Smaller water wheels spin faster. And there's a trick you can do. Watch this. You just put a sneaky small water wheel in here. Watch this. So watch how fast that's going. I'm going to put this in here. Look at that. We just doubled the speed of the entire set of water wheels because it's got one little one attached. So there's a trick to speed up your water wheels by 1. And I'm just going to bury that in the wall. Look at that. Now, the reason I didn't put another water wheel down that side is, in my experience in trying this out, it blocked the water from flowing. So I'm just going to leave that open. And it actually looks better, I think. So we're going to make an aqueduct that comes down from that hill and make this water kind of disappear down into the ground over on this end. All right, let's get this floor in place in the beginnings of this building. I've created this little mangrove forest over here. I want to build with mangrove in this. And I've got a mechanical saw from Create with a hand crank. And let's cut down all of these mangrove trees, which is actually very easy to do with Create. You just have to find the lowest point, put the saw down. All right, we got a few floating trees left behind. Let's clean those up. And let's replant a bunch of trees on Mangrove Island. Okay, and that was good for 752 mangrove logs. Check that, 790. And more roots than you can shake a stick at. Sleep and get on with our floor. Okay, from here, I'm going to put a floor down on this level and a brick wall surrounding this building. We'll run the power in from the water wheels into the basement. And let's do that. All right, well, this is a pretty big platform. Used, I don't know, what's the 300 logs for that. We're going to put down brick wall on this thing. Just keep us from falling off the edge. You have a way down here. Here's the downstairs. Got to clean up a little bit of our sloppiness. Definitely going to need to light this up, or we're going to have a mob farm. Let's try this. What's it called? Magnum torch. We do have the things for that. This just stops mobs in a big radius. We'll just stick this in the middle of shear, keep the mobs away. All right, now we just need to get some power down in here. We've got our cogs. Let's increase the speed by multiplying by connecting small and big cogs together. Later, we'll have a variable speed controller. And also keep in mind that all these wheels aren't connected. We're only getting power from one of these banks of wheels. But let's leave it like this for now, and we'll connect them together later when we run out of stress units, just to see what we get from one bank. Now let's move the power up and across the bottom so we can get power over here on the other side. Not sure where that ended up. Right here. And now we have a wall outlet. This is going to power our main belt. Go about out to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think if we put the belt on this row here, leaving 3 blocks behind it to build our machines behind, I think that will work. We'll just run the belt down here and make a maximum length belt. We right click on the shaft and run with it. We can see how far we can get. That there, and now we can connect it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Same thing over here. Now we just got to get these things to turn the corner. It's going to be a little tricky. We can't just put a gearbox right here because it's going to, these sides turn opposite directions. Can't shortcut that, but we can run it around like this. This goes in the direction that we want. I prefer to use gears for this, so we're going to use 2 gearboxes, and then we'll use 2 gears like this. We can cover those with andesite casing, make them look nice. And there's how we turn a corner. Do that again down here. There we go. We've got our factory floor. What we're going to do is just run several machines all around here, and this is going to keep the items moving. Machines aren't going to interact with each other, but it's easy to just have one belt running the power around the floor. I just remembered something. These water wheels, we can color them now with any kind of wood. So we can color them with mangrove. I don't know, is that too much? Too much red? What do you think? It is time to get started building these crate machines. Let's go back to our first home. So we can make brass with copper and zinc in the alloy forge. I'm sure the create mod devs love when other mods make it too easy to make brass. But here we go. So we've got all the brass, and we also have this Industrial Revolution machine down here, which is the compressor. We can make iron sheets in our compressor, which we already have a ton of here, so we don't need to spend a bunch more iron on that. So we've got the compressor, we've got the alloy forge, so we can get sheets, which allows us to make things like the goggles, the engineer's goggles that I have on, which is gold sheets, and like the wrench, gold sheets. We are going to progress kind of in the order that we need to go to create these things in crates. So if you're following along and haven't built those things, you can pound out with a hammer to get those gold sheets. And you're just going to have to wait on brass until we make a brass mixing contraption be farther down this line. Hey, Jacob. All right, let's get started on our factory. Put a backpack on. That's got my create things in it. And I've mapped it to the tab key so it doesn't conflict with the B key, which is my simple storage terminal. And for the first thing, we're going to make a mechanical press. So we need mechanical press, some barrels, funnel, and a chute. So we're going to start with a chute right here, a barrel on top of that. We can put a barrel down here on the belt with a with a funnel on it, pulling the stuff out, but that saves us a spot. I'm prioritizing how things look over making things as compact as possible. So if you're like, you get things spread out too much, Scott, that's mostly my reasoning. I've also got bigger plans for this very first machine. So I'm going to leave a whole bunch of space. I'm going to go out 9 blocks and I'm going to put the barrel down 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. Put another barrel right here. This is going to be the output barrel. This is going to be basically the theme of all our machines. We got an input and an output. It's going to be manual at first. And I'm trying to set this up so that we can use auto crafting with applied energistics. This is going to seem weird again, but I'm going to put the mechanical press way down this end of the belt. We just need to power this thing. Some shafts. So we just right click with a shaft on the belt. Vertical gearbox here, vertical gearbox here. And a shaft there. Now this thing's working. We just put some gold in here. And we have 5 golden sheets. Now, let's make this look nice. Casing's on the belt itself. There we go. There's machine number 1. Again, this space is all here because we're going to add a whole bunch of different things to this machine. It's going to be pretty cool all-in-one machine to handle a whole bunch of things that we want to do. Next machine is the millstone. It's going to be really easy. I'm going to put down this table of elevation. It's going to give me creative flight. So we're going to put a chute right here, millstone, chute, and a barrel. Go. A barrel over here for the output, and a funnel right here. That's it. It's the machine. You just need to, again, get some power to the mill. So basically just cogwheel, vertical gearbox, and a shaft. And let's clean up the back so it looks nice. And that's it. So now we just put stuff in here. Let's grab some wheat. Do I even have any wheat? I see hay bales. There's some wheat down in here. It's going to come down, drop through, get crushed. Pieces of wheat are going to come out. We can put a brass funnel here if things come out in bunches, although I think the millstone drops things out as it crushes them or grinds them. So they're just going to come out one at a time. So we really only need an andesite funnel here. So we got wheat flour from the wheat. The mill is really great to have, especially for making dyes. We throw some daisy and cactus and bones in here. We're going to get green dye from cactus. The oxide daisy is going to give us yellow and white, I think. Here comes some light gray, yellow. While we're waiting for the bones to finish up, take a look in here. If you look in REI at the millstone and right click on that, you can see all the different recipes. And generally, it gives you better output, black and gray dye from charcoal. With these bones, we're going to get extra bone meal and chance at some white dye. And here we go. We've got some white dye, green dye, and this wheat flour. We can make some lime dye. And if we mix the wheat flour with some water, we get dough. And we mix lime dye, dough, we get slime balls, which are very useful, especially for Create because we need that to make glue. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff you get out of the millstone. Later on, once we have a washer, we're not going to need to use a bucket of water to make dough. But we'll get to that in a bit. All right, well, it's about time we make some brass. In case you haven't used the alloy furnace to get some brass, let's just make some quickly. Also, I expanded the belt a little bit here because I just didn't quite have enough room. There was just like for this space and I couldn't really squeeze anything in there. So I expanded it. And I used some chain drives, encased chain drives to extend the belt. And since I had to do this again, I used chain drives instead of cogwheels. That was an easy change. So let's put another barrel down here. We're actually going to need to break the belt for this because we need to put right down here blaze burner. The blaze burner we got way back early on when we went into the nether. I brought an empty blaze burner with me to capture that, planning for this moment. And that's a basin and a mixer on top of that. Mixers are easy to make. All you need is some iron sheets. Piece of cake. So let's put our belts back together here. We also need a depot to get stuff out of the basin. So we're going to put a depot right down here in the floor. which causes this little chute to come out here. And we just then continue the belt. Now we're going to end up using brass funnels for this, but we need brass first. It's not right. Right here on the end of the belt, and change the direction of that wrench. So those little arrows need to point away from there. We don't have to put direction on a funnel when it's on a belt because it's just going to go the direction of the belt. And there we go. We just need to power this. Put a vertical gearbox right here, gearbox here, gearbox here. Let's get a cog wheel right here. Mixer going. There we go. Probably a better way for that. And we're definitely going to need to switch this up later when we automate. And this is going fast enough. So now let's just get some, all my copper and zinc is at the other base. I'll be right back. All right, so let's just throw some copper and zinc into here. The blaze needs to be heated up. So we just right click on him with some coal, and that's going to then cook our brass. Oh, forgot to put a barrel here. Now you got to be careful with the basin because it can only hold 16 items of one type. So if it fills up with 16 and copper is still blocking it, it's just going to stop the copper from coming out. All right, well, there we go. We've got our brass production. We're going to automate this so that it splits things out, doesn't get blocked because it only holds 16 types of a certain item. We'll also automate sending coal around and using a deployer to feed coal to our blaze burner. So now that we have brass, we can make deployers. And once we get deployers, we can do all sorts of things like make more of this andesite casing automatically, which is what we want to do next. And that's going to go right down there. In order to do a deployer, we need electron tubes as well as these brass hands. So we're going to need to send brass through press. Let's do that. And we need some electron tubes. We can't automate electron tubes yet without electron tubes because we need deployers for that. So we're going to have to make a few of these things manually. So let's make some sandpaper and some rose quartz. I think one sandpaper does 8 rose quartz. Put one in our offhand, it doesn't matter which. And the other one in the main hand, right click to polish the rose quartz. And now we can make some electron tubes with the polished rose quartz we have. Some iron sheets. Well, we've got 8 electron tubes now. Brass sheets. And we can make deployers. Brass hands, some deployers, 3 deployers, get us going. Okay, let's use this deployer that we have now to make andesite casing. That's gonna be the first thing we add to this machine right here. So for this, we need to strip logs. So we need a mechanical saw, and we're gonna put that right here. There we go. And to power this, get the belt moving again. Just need some cogwheels back here. And doing cogwheels like this is perfect because the sawmill needs to spin the opposite direction of the belt. That's just how it works. If you have it going the other way, it's not going to push things in the right direction. Now we also need an attribute filter, which thankfully we can make now that we have brass. We need to put an attribute filter to tell this saw to only make stripped logs. Put a stripped oak log in here, and we choose this tag stripped logs. We could also do like vanilla stripped logs, but I think if we do this C stripped logs, that will give us modded logs as well. Put that on here. And now if we put a log in here, we'll strip it and we get a stripped log. Put something else in here like copper ingot, it'll just go through and still get pressed. In this way, we can kind of double up, triple, even quadruple the purpose of this machine. So next we need, not that, a deployer, chute above it, and a barrel above that. Here we're going to put andesite alloy, and it needs power. It's right here. We have a few andesite casing left. Oh, it doesn't use them when we use them to decorate. There we go. Now we have andesite casing production. Strips the log, puts it into andesite casing. Just like the saw, as long as the deployer has something in it, it won't cause items to stop that it can't process. So if we send an ingot through there, the ingot will just pass through the saw and through the deployer and get just to the press. These things can't be pressed, so they just pass right by the press. Now that we have all kinds of andesite casings, we can continue our decoration. Looking good, and side one is done. All right, guys, so I started to build this next machine on camera and thought to myself, all right, this is going to get really long, and you guys really don't need to see me place every block. So I built the rest of my machines that I'd planned, and let's just talk through them because they're really not that complicated. It's pretty cool. So here's the crushing wheels. Downstairs, I've got the mechanical crafters all set up to make those crushing wheels. That's pretty easy. We just need to get a lot of brass for that. So here's the input chest. Let's grab some cobblestone, which is kind of the classic thing to crush. There's a brass funnel off the back here. Let's go in the back. Let's grab this filter right here. It is set for allowing anything that can be crushed. We don't want anything that can't be crushed to go through here because I think they get destroyed. Goes in here, up this belt, into that funnel. We're using brass for filtering, but also so that we can get entire stacks coming in and out. Goes into the chute that is in front of there and drops down through the crushing wheels, out another chute. You can see I'm pulling stuff off the belt, running them down up another belt. One of the reasons for that is we could have put these crushing wheels horizontally, just sitting across that belt to just run things through it. Caused an entire crushing wheel to be sticking out into the floor, which didn't look great. So I went with this one. Turned out pretty well, though. I think I like it. Okay, so things get crushed, drop down, and into that output chest right over here. That barrel, rather. This is right here. The things end up right here in this barrel. Now, this funnel is here to recycle stuff if we want to send stuff through twice. Cobble to gravel to sand is a classic example of that. If this switch is off, so this funnel is not powered, anything that can be crushed, that's what that filter is, will come back and go back through a second or even a third time, although I don't know that there are any triple crushing recipes. So right now it is down, which means it is not set to recycle. So if we put some cobble through here, while we're at it, let's throw the zinc in there as well. Now, crushed cobble comes out as gravel, and that's going to come out here in a second. It should just sit here, right? We'll wait for the rest of it, although we don't necessarily have to. We flip the switch, you see the gravel go back up and recycle through. Now we've got cobble going through, gravel going through, and zinc. Here's the crushed zinc, comes through. We get experience nuggets when we crush zinc in here. And here comes the sand and its byproducts from crushing gravel. So there's the crushing wheels. This here is a machine that makes polished rose quartz from its raw ingredients. So we get some quartz and redstone, and up here we make the sandpaper. So this mixer, if we put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 quartz, they're going to mix together and create a single rose quartz, and this deployer here has got sandpaper in it, and it's going to sand it. Now we've got all the sand from here. Okay, so if we take some sand, put it in this one, and paper, and put it in this one, these are going to craft together, these mechanical crafters, and make more sandpaper. It's not coming out of there because this is full. Sandpaper doesn't stack, so it's going to make more as it needs it. So if we keep filling this up with the ingredients for rose quartz, we'll always have sandpaper for it. All right, and over here we've got our washer, smoker, smelter, haunter system right here. Also really easy setup. The complicated part here is setting up the filters. It's right back here. All this is 4 encased fans blowing through water, campfire, lava, and a soul campfire. The ingredients go in these barrels right here. And now these filters are set to be only allow things that can't be haunted, things that can't be smelted, things that can't be smoked, and things that can't be washed. These are all very simple, except for this one right here. Let's take a look at this filter right here because it's got 2 things in it. One is stone, because if we don't let stone through, it's going to sit there and get turned into smooth stone, which is generally not what we want. So if we want to get smooth stone, we can take this filter out and replace it with just an attribute filter that cannot be smelted. So here's an example of the cannot be smelted filter that are on all of these. This one right here, for example, let's take a look at it. Cannot be haunted. cannot be smoked, and cannot be washed. And these are smart chutes that are basically chutes with filtering on them. If we take some lapis and cobble, yeah, we have flour from our mill. So we put this in here. We put cobblestone in here. And we put lapis in here. We're going to get prismarine stone, not smooth stone because of that filter, and dough balls from here. So here's our stone. I cooked some tin before. Prismarine. I don't know. It's just taking a long time for that flour. Flour's not getting washed. How come? Fan isn't turning. We just didn't have that fan turning. And now, there it goes. That wheat is getting processed into dough. And finally, look what I did over here. I added a bunch more deployers and another input because I got kind of tired, honestly, of dropping things in and watching them go through the saw because it slows them down. So anything that doesn't need processed in the saw can just be dropped in over here. So what we've got here is a combination of casing maker. So if we, here's copper in here right now. So if we drop some logs in here, we're gonna get copper casing. And let's just put some andesite in here so it can finish these out. Let's make some brass casings while we're at it. Now right here is the 3-stage process for making precision mechanism. It's a 3-stage sequence with a gold sheet, run it through 5 times to be processed with cogwheel, large cogwheel, and then iron nugget, which is small cog, large cog, and iron nugget. Since we have a press down on this end, we don't need to stick sheets in. We can just put in gold ingots. Let's just do 1. So that's going to get pressed into a sheet. It gets sent back across. I'll talk about what happened there in a second. It comes back through, and it's going to go through 5 times. That was the 3rd time. Once more. Now that it is complete, it's not going to come out of here. The finished precision mechanism is right in here. Here's all our casings, by the way. And there's a little preview of what is the other thing that is going to go into here, which is making train tracks. That's also a 3-stage process, hitting with iron or zinc, and then a press, and we want to use a stone slab here. And now we're all set to make slabs because we can put stone through here. So let's just throw 1 piece of stone in here. It's going to get turned into a slab. It's going to get processed by these here, pressed, and turned into a train track. We added a 2nd deployer with iron nuggets. Pretty cool. Here's what's happening in the back, which is really simple, honestly. This could have just been a belt. We could have run the belt across here, but I thought these fluid item drains were a really cool way to move the items across. So rather than just have the belt go all the way, which it totally could, it was more fun to watch things roll across these item drains. So that's fun. Here's where kind of the interesting stuff happens. This list filter just has an incomplete precision mechanism in it and a golden sheet. Oh, since I took that off, everything's flowing through here. They should stick again. There we go. No harm done. There you go. Multi-item setup for producing casings, precision mechanisms, trains, and just 2 plates as well. Although gold plates will go back through and get turned into precision mechanisms. I am ready for winter to be over. This is pretty rough. All right, so there you go. For the tail end, I'm just gonna finish this factory, surround it in bricks. Now that we've got this set up, we can turn all of our clay into bricks. There they go. They're getting cooked into bricks. All right, now as a final thing, we've got all the bricks produced here. We need building block bricks. So let's build a quick machine that will keep building these things for us. So here's our pattern for, run this into a barrel. That's our pattern for brick blocks out of individual bricks. We need a funnel. You know what? We can't run a funnel in here because we need to place these things individually in those slots. So what we need for that, a mechanical arm. It's going to grab bricks off of a depot here. I think that will be able to reach. And we need a lever on here so we can work with a brass funnel. While we're in here, let's make the mechanical arm, which is brass sheets, precision mechanism, We put that lever on here so that it stops things from coming out of this funnel until we have it filtered. We just need to grab a brick to set the filter. And now bricks will come out when we flip this lever. There we go. We've got a stack of bricks. And now, let's see. We'll put this guy right in the middle so he can reach. Put this right here. Right click to take items from. We'll right click twice to deposit items. We put him down here. Oh, this is going to be pretty cool. Just need to get him working. We can just run a shaft right from here. Put a gear there, and he's putting bricks in there. Just need to connect these two guys to get our crafter going. And they make bricks. Put them in here. Okay. Good work, buddy. You're not the fastest at your job, but that's our fault for not speeding you up. All right. Well, this guy is definitely not going fast enough. Let's make a rotational speed controller, because that would be interesting to look at anyway. But we need one more precision mechanism. We can make that right in here. Love how these things just roll across the item drains. All right, we've got our two precision mechanisms. Now we can make a controller. We need a large cog. All right, now with the rotational speed controller, we put it down over here where we have room to work, connect it to power like that. And now a large cogwheel on here. This is not the ideal location for this, but we can make it work. There we go. All right, this is going at normal speed. Now if we crank this thing up, right click on here. Let's just go full speed. All right, this is as fast as we can make bricks. This has to be using an ungodly amount of stress units, which, by the way, speaking of stress units, as soon as we added the encased fans to this, we overstressed the single bank of water wheels and we had to connect them all together. They're all connected with small cogs, so they're all contributing to the stress capacity of our entire warehouse, and it's just a massive quantity. How's our stress doing? We're using 10 out of the 15,000 stress units that we have available. This right here has to be using a ton. Let's turn this down and see what happens. Just turn it down to its regular speed. Yeah, that alone is using up 2,000 stress units, 3,000. While we're waiting for the bricks, closed up all the backs of the machines with some more andesite casing, which makes it just look that much better. I love this. I love how these wheels kind of fit in here. All right, and as soon as our bricks are done, we'll finish up this building. All right, and there you have it. Sun setting for the final reveal. That's kind of nice. So there it is. There is the Create factory. Did a lot with obviously brick, just some painted wood that I made some cyan planks, water wheels. Over here is the aqueduct. Just kind of ran it down from the hilltop there. Back of this building is not very well decorated, though we do have the basement, a walk-in basement, a path going nowhere, I guess, if you want to go fishing. And in here, it's even grass. I still have a ton of work to do down here. Here's the crafters. Crushing wheels. Up here, path continues. So yeah, I did some decorating with the Create windows, these mangrove windows from Create. These are redwood doors. There's a lot left I could do. There's a lot of blank surfaces, a lot of texture I could add. Tried some stuff with the chipped bricks. This is pretty neat. So what's his name? The guy with the donkeys, the vinery guy, merchant, sold me some grapes. They grow in vines on the wall. So I thought that was pretty cool. And just inside, seen most of this already. There's Enderman everywhere around here. But we've seen all this before. We don't need to go through that again. Up here, there's really nothing but more Endermen. They just love these open spaces. I think they think they're in the end. So yeah, still lots to do. Lots of machines to add. I think I'm going to put applied energistics upstairs. Put a nice big stairway up there. Make that kind of maybe some high tech up there so we can automate all these machines with applied energistics. All right, and I think that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed the episode. This was one of the biggest builds I've ever taken on, certainly on camera. That was a lot that went into that. Mostly went into a montage. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with the series, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I appreciate you.